Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And what we're going to talk about today is the latest on the search for the little cherub. Gus Lamont, over there in Australia, this little boy was playing outside at his grandparents' rural property near Adelaide in Australia. Very, very rural area, you know, completely remote area. This property has got massive sort of grounds around it. Anyway, he was playing outside. He was last seen in the early evening, I should say. I think round about 5-6 o'clock in the evening. He's been missing for about a week now. No sign of him, no trace. And we're just going to talk about the latest, the updates, which are sad updates because basically the update is nothing has been found. But the search has had to be scaled back. And every day that goes past, of course, it looks less likely that this little boy will be found alive. So it's very, very sad. My heart goes out to the family. We've been praying for Gus and the family. Please carry on praying. I know that it's not much, but something that we can do. Send out some positive energy. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Special thank you to my members who, you know, keep this channel going. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, thank you to anyone who sent me Ko-fi or has PayPal'd me or sent super sticker. Thank you to the lovely emails and messages that I get and the positive comments. So if you contribute to my channel in any positive way, thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to take my banner off. I'm going to say hello to my lurkers, my lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hello, oh, and a kiss. Hello, replay crew. Thank you so much for watching. And all of you, just thank you for caring about this little boy. As I say, there's not much, we can't physically do anything. We're miles away from this, or most of us are miles away from where this is going on. But one thing we can do is care, and we can send out positive energy and prayers in the hope that one way or another Gus is located and brought home to his family, who must be absolutely desperate. Okay, let's see who's in the chat. I'm a bit earlier today. Hi, Julie. Hi, Darren. Because I've got some classes later. For those of you who don't know me, maybe coming to my channel for the first time. My name's Vicky Marie. I am also a Spanish teacher, so I have some classes to do this morning. But I will be back later on today, lunchtime, because so this case, it's a little bit like the Jack and Lily Sullivan case, isn't it? A remote property, children going missing. But of course, Jack and Lily's case, there was 2 of them went missing at once, the siblings. So it's got the only similarity really is that it's a rural property. And of course, the Jack and Lily Sullivan case is in Nova Scotia in Canada. And the stepfather, Daniel, was recently interviewed. I showed a little bit of the interview in my last video, my last update. And very kindly, I said that I was going to contact the YouTuber that had done the video with Daniel and ask him if I could use that interview to react to comment on. And very kindly, he has said yes. So I will be going through that whole interview, reacting to it, commenting on it at some point, probably today. But you know, things can happen. But that's what I've got in my head. So we will be looking at Daniel's, the stepfather, Jack and Lily's stepfather's interview, and looking at it together in depth. Okay, hi Daniel, Happy Tuesday. Hi, Angel. So let's have a look, first of all, at the latest press conference, or the police statement, the latest police statement. So this is a statement. Oh, let me take my tea bag out. This is a statement from the South Australia Police on the search for Gus Lamont. So, of course, whenever any child goes missing, it's normally, a big, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a big deal, isn't it? When children go missing, but children do go missing, unfortunately, day in, day out. Most even children are found quite quickly, aren't they? They've wandered off. Maybe they're other, maybe there's some sort of custody dispute. They are normally found safe and well. And of course, then there's unusual cases where children are abducted, but it's rare. And this Gus Lamont case, I think, is the reason why it's attracted so much attention is, of course, I mean, apart from the fact he has got that little angelic face, but they all have, haven't they, all children? But I think because of the mystery of it, that he's just disappeared off this rural property, maybe because of similarities with Jack and Lily's case, because their case has attracted a lot of attention as well. And unfortunately, of course, there's the bad attention. There's a lot of tarot card readers out there throwing in their 2 penny on social media, etc. And I don't want you to. I mean, I believe in tarot cards, but I don't think it's helpful to go on social media and worry. The family. It's just not right, in my opinion, to go on social media making tarot card readings about missing people and saying things like, oh, they're near water, or this has happened, or that has happened. I just don't think it's helpful for the family at all, because, with the best will in the world, and as much as I do believe in tarot cards to a certain extent, they can cause anxiety and things it just doesn't feel right. But anyway, unless the family asks them to. I mean, that's a whole nother matter. If the family themselves contact a tarot card reader that they trust and ask them, to give a reading or whatever, that's a whole different thing. But, people who are just using it as an excuse to sort of, I don't know, go online and say things that they shouldn't be saying, it's not helpful, in my opinion. Now, don't forget, the police have not, because there'll always be people who'll be, the family will be suspect, because, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But the police have said categorically that as far as they're concerned, they have no evidence that it's anything more than a child wandering off in this remote sort of wilderness, if you like. Anyway, so we'll be respectful to the family. If we, obviously, if any evidence comes out, that's a whole different thing. But on this channel, we're always respectful, aren't we? So the following statement can be attributed to Deputy Commissioner Linda Williams. As mentioned on Friday, the search for 4-year-old Gus Lamont was scaled back following medical experts' advice that there was little hope of us to find him alive. So this was the awful thing that happened the other day. The thing is, it's gone so long now that, Gus he's not an adult, is he? So he can't look after himself. So if he is in that remote property and the wilderness, and that he can't be alive, because he can't have eaten anything or drank anything. Now, so we've come to this sort of point where you're almost hoping that it's been abducted, because then there's a chance that he might still be alive if someone's looking after him. I don't know about that. How could he be abducted without anybody realizing? But anyway, let's just carry on reading the statement. We don't know, basically. So despite that, SAPOL continued the search for 3 more days with a significant search presence until Friday afternoon. The investigation is now being managed by Missing Persons Section, part of Major Crime Investigation Branch, and that's where all long-term cases such as this are managed and investigated. Very sad, isn't it? So police are actively, I think we've got the video of this actually as well, so I will read it out, but then we'll play the video. Police are, in addition to the search activity, there has been concurrent inquiries undertaken, which are continuing. Police are actively looking to rule out every investigation opportunity and will search the property when any potential evidence that could be connected to Gus is identified. On Monday, the 6th of October, a significant search was conducted after a small footprint was located around a dam about 5.5 kilometres west of the homestead. The search involved numerous resources, including star polar and a tracker, but the footprint was subsequently found not to be related to Gus. Note, this is not connected to the footprint discovered by searchers last week. So there's been 2 footprints found, and they've not ruled out the first one is Gus's, but this second one that was found on Monday the 6th of October, yesterday, that has been found not to be Gus's. So on Friday and Saturday night, a significant aerial search of the property was conducted using a special drone with infrared capabilities. Now, this is the same technology that was used in Port Lincoln for the remains of Julian Story. Now, we did look at that case. That's the case of the influencer, Tamika Chesser, who allegedly murdered her boyfriend, Julian Story, and, took his head off in a carrier bag to hide it. And they did find it. So his body was found at the property where she'd killed him. And then using a combination of CCTV and this drone, they did find, well, actually, no, that's not true, because they didn't find Julian's head, was it? It was somebody walking his dog, as usual, who actually found Julian's head. But they used this drone to try and pinpoint. I think they'd sort of pinpointed the area where it might be, but they hadn't actually found Julian's head. And then a dog walker found the head, which must have been quite traumatic for them. So it's quite complex technology, so the results will take some time to work through, but police will investigate any findings through further searches. We will never give up hope of finding Gus. There are further lines of inquiry being undertaken, and the family have continued to cooperate fully with police. We still have a public appeal for anyone who has any information about Gus or any concerns, but we will be continuing this investigation and highlight that you may see other activity up there from time to time. For example, when the results of this search by the drone have been completed. So what they'll do is they'll survey the footage and see if there's any points of interest. So let's...
You all ready? Okay. So despite our very best efforts to find Gus, as you know, the search was scaled back from Friday afternoon. I might repeat some background here, but I think it's important to restate that on Tuesday of last week, medical experts advised there was little hope then for us to find Gus alive. But despite that, we continued on for 3 more days with a significant search presence till Friday afternoon. The investigation is now being managed by Missing Persons Section, which is part of Major Crime Investigation Branch, and that's where all long-term cases such as this are managed and investigated, which is standard practice. In addition to the search activity, there has been concurrent inquiries undertaken as a matter of course, as you would expect when a 4-year-old child goes missing, and those inquiries are continuing. We are actively looking to rule out every investigation opportunity at this stage. We are continuing to search the property when potential evidence is located that could be connected to Gus. So to that end, on Monday the 6th of October, a significant search was conducted around a dam about 3.5 kilometres west of the homestead after a small boot print was located. The search involved numerous resources, including star, polaire and a tracker. The print was subsequently found not to be related to Gus. And on Friday and Saturday night, a contingent of police also conducted a significant aerial search of the property using a special drone with infrared capabilities to search this large area. This is the same technology that was used in the search in Port Lincoln for the remains of Julian's Story. Now, the results of that drone analysis are still being analysed. We hope to have those results in coming weeks. It's quite complex technology, so it will take a little while for that to work through.
It's so sad because you can tell, because, you know, they've scaled back the actual search. They do think that this little boy is deceased somewhere there on the property. But we're going to have a look in a minute at a tracker who says that he doesn't think that Gus is on that property. So we're going to look at that. But, you know, they're all theories at the moment. Nobody knows what's happened to Gus.
But if anything any information comes that directs us to conduct further searches in specific areas, we will be doing that in the coming weeks. As we've stated, we will never give up hope of finding Gus. There are further lines of inquiry being undertaken, and the family have continued to cooperate fully with police and have consented to every request that we have made of them thus far. This is just to emphasise to people in the community that we still have a public appeal for anyone who has any information about Gus or any concerns, but we will be continuing this investigation and highlight that you may see some other activity out there from time to time, for example, when the results of this search by the drone has been completed.
Sorry, when did the special drone fly?
Friday and Saturday nights.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Are you still looking at what it's captured?
Yes, so it's quite complex technology. It has to be analysed. It uses quite significant technology that the operator will then have to analyse and provide that information back.
Thank you.
So that's the police update. That's what the police have just had to say. Now we're going to have a look at what this tracker has got to say. Let me put a couple of windows down. Hang on. Where's it gone? Right, okay, I found it. So let's have a look at this short video, see what this tracker has got to say. Don't forget to leave your comments, what you think, you know, obviously respectfully, but have you got, you know, any ideas? I mean, they've talked about even a bird of prey. I mean, you know, it's always possible. Those, you know, I just think in these cases, you can't rule anything out. I mean, Gus is just tiny, you know, so he could easily be carried away by a large bird of prey. Having said that, the tracker, you'll see in the what the tracker has to say in a moment. One of the reasons why he doesn't think Gus is on the property is because there are no birds of prey around. So what, you know, I know it sounds a bit gruesome, but it's true. If this little boy's body was anywhere around there, there would be birds of prey. And, you know, unfortunately, that's just a fact of life, isn't it? There would be probably birds around the body, etc. You know, unless the body's been taken away somewhere. Or other people are saying there's mine shafts, there's, you know, there's a million places that he may have disappeared into or come to some harm, you know, because it is a huge rural property. And, you know, what I've come to realise covering these cases, obviously when people have rural properties, they do relax, I think, don't they? You know, if you were in an inner city, you know, in a busy street on a council estate or whatever, these days you wouldn't let your children out to play, would you? I mean, we did years ago. But if you're on a huge rural property like that, where you just nobody ever comes to, do you relax too much? I mean, do you relax too much? Take your eyes off them, thinking they'll be okay, but actually they're not okay. You know, apparently he was a good little walker. I mean, toddlers can move quick, and they can get something in their head, can't they? Like, oh, you know, I'm going over there, or something can distract them, or all sorts of things can lead them off and into misadventure. So that's a possibility as well, what might have happened, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look at this. Just so sad. So, as I say, what we can do is pray. We must pray, because that's some positivity, you know, some positive energy. Hopefully we can put out there, even though constructively there's not much we can do, is there?
And who joined the search for Gus Lamont alongside the little boy's devastated father says he's certain the 4-year-old isn't on the property and has ruled out bizarre conspiracy theories. It's now been 9 days since Gus disappeared without a trace in the state's outback.
Local Jason O'Connell knows the land out here like the back of his hand.
I just don't get how he vanished like that.
When the alarm was raised about a little boy lost on a property near Yunta, he was given police approval to help search. Day and night, he walked the expansive property looking for little Gus, the youngster's devastated dad by his side.
My heart breaks for him. You know, all dads love their boys, you know, all the kids. So, you know, it's just hard.
Jason's got 20 years experience in the SES and skills in tracking. Never has he found absolutely no trace like this.
It's been searched. He's not there.
And he believes the conspiracy theories are just that.
It's not going to happen. A wedge-tail will pick up a kilo or two. You know, they're not going to pick up a 4-year-old. There's no pigs. There's no wild dogs. There's no foxes.
But if he's not somewhere out here on the property, where is Gus?
So that answers questions that some of us were asking. You know, are there any dingoes? Because, you know, we remember the famous case of the dingo that took the baby in Australia. But he's saying no, there are no dogs, no foxes. You know, there's obviously no bears or, you know, none of the sort of animals that you would expect to hurt a child. But of course, it's easy to have an accident. And the problem is, because he's so tiny, he would be difficult to find. He would be difficult to find, of course. But it is almost like he's just been swept away, isn't it? But you can see this, you know, you can see the terrain behind this woman. It's a lot of ground to cover. So hopefully when they get the footage back from this drone, this infrared drone, maybe something will come up on it that at least will help them to find Gus. I mean, they're not expecting to find him alive, unless he has been abducted, of course. But, you know, I just don't see how he could be abducted, because surely, even though it's a remote property, he was playing right outside the house, apparently. So wouldn't they hear, like, a truck coming up or a car or whatever? How is it possible for vehicles to approach without them seeing the vehicles or hearing them at least? You know, so that seems, in fact, every theory seems unlikely. We'll watch this to the end, then I'm going to put it back on again.
Every piece of information in relation to this very high-profile missing persons case will now be examined and re-examined by police. Major Crime Police returning to the property on Friday night, speaking to a family member about his last known movements. Hope remaining he will somehow be found somewhere alive.
We'll head out there and do what we can. You know, he's a little tacky. You don't want to leave him out there.
Oh.
Hannah Ford, 7 News.
Well, the thing is, sorry, let me just put that back to the beginning.
A man who joined
The thing is, he has been out there for too long. You know, he's been out there for too long. And if he is out there, he will be deceased, which is sad. If somebody has taken him, or like Joanne's saying there, though, you can hear everything in the country. I would imagine that you could. You know, nobody's going to be able to drive up and kidnap this boy without being heard, without their vehicle being heard, or, you know, it's just impossible, I think. What was the other thing? Oh, so somebody was saying about no footprint. So they found one boot print that they have not ruled out. They found another boot print, but they've ruled that out. But you know, it's interesting because you think, well, whose boot print was that? The other one then? You know, like if the first one they're not ruling out that it may have been Gus's, but the second one they are ruling out that it was Gus's. But whose was it then? You know, just think, well, whose was that boot print? And something interesting that I heard on the interview with Daniel Martel, because, you know, on that case of Lily and Jack Sullivan in Nova Scotia, there was one boot print found, wasn't there? And the thing is, why is there no other prints? I don't see how you can just find one boot print or footprint. Where's the others? You know, it's not hop there, just like one big hop from the house, wherever it was. You know, where's the other footprints? And if there was anyone around there with him, or if somebody planted it, let's imagine, because some people have said, oh, someone's planted that footprint. Where's their footprints? You know, the thing is, you can't what's the word? You can't hide your footprints unless you went back and, I don't know, brushed the ground so that the footprints disappeared. You know, you'd have to walk backwards, brushing the ground. I don't know. So it's like, where's that one footprint come from? Where's the other footprint come from? And how do they know that is nothing to do with him? And if somebody's planted those, where are the other footprints? Do you know, it's like, well, anyway, you know, just questions, isn't it, for us to ask?
the search for Gus Lamont alongside the little boy's devastated father says he's certain the 4-year-old isn't on the property and has ruled out bizarre conspiracy theories. It's now been 9 days since Gus disappeared without a trace in the state's outback.
Local Jason O'Connell knows the land out here like the back of his hand.
I just don't get how he vanished like that.
When the alarm was raised about a little boy lost on a property near Yunta, he was given police approval to help search. Day and night, he walked the expansive property looking for little Gus. The youngster,
You know, just seeing them there as well, it reminded me a little bit of Jay Slater case because of when they were searching for him. Because you see them out there searching, but literally they could be walking right past him. That's what's quite scary, isn't it? The thought of it. Because you can walk past how many times, you know, look at Travis Decker. He wasn't found till the 4th time. He was found by drone, wasn't it? It was a drone, or he was spotted from the air. His shirt was spotted from the air. And it was a forensic psychologist, a lady actually, who, you know, did an assessment of the case and said where she thought he would have headed for. So, you know, so you can literally walk right past a body and you just would not, you know, you would not see it. And I'm always struck by the TV doctor who disappeared, didn't he? Had a heart attack in, was it Greece, where he was somewhere? Can't remember exactly where he was. And he was literally there for days outside a cafe, you know, just around the corner from where people had been sitting, eating and what have you. And he had been there. He wasn't spotted for days and days. And he was right there until finally someone spotted him from a boat. So I just think, it's not as easy as you think, is it, to find a body?
Night, he walked the expansive property looking for little Gus, the youngster's devastated dad, by his side.
My heart breaks for him. All dads love their boys, all the kids. So, just hard.
Jason's got 20 years experience in the SES and skills in tracking. Never has he found absolutely no trace like this.
It's been searched. He's not there.
And he believes the conspiracy theories are just that.
It's not going to happen. A wedge-tail will pick up a kilo or two. They're not going to pick up a 4-year-old. There's no pigs. There's no wild dogs. There's no foxes.
But if he's not somewhere out here on...
So he's saying that it wouldn't be a wild bird. So no pigs, no foxes, no wild dogs in this area. And yeah, Darren, the Michael, was it, the guy? He was behind a wall, but he was on a path. He was on a path that could be easily seen from the sea, and the helicopters had gone over. And he'd literally looked like he'd sat down to sort of catch his breath or whatever, because he was, a little bit sillily for a doctor, wandering around in the heat of the sun, perhaps overestimated his own fitness. I think he got lost as well. So he hadn't been expecting to have walked so far. It seems like he got lost, which is easy to do. And it was so tragic, because he was literally 1 minute from civilization, from this sort of cafeteria or restaurant where people were sat eating. And he just didn't make it, unfortunately. But then you'd think they would be able to smell. I mean, I don't mean to be gruesome, but you'd think they'd be able to smell something, wouldn't you? Or, maybe they did, but they just passed it off as the drains or something. I don't know, because he literally was that close, bless him. And yeah, it was somebody on a boat eventually that spotted him, wasn't it? I don't know why the helicopters and things... was the helicopters, but anyway, there was big searches out there, and he was on a path. And there were searchers, there was dogs. The only point I'm trying to make is it's not easy as you think to find a body, even when it's a big man, never mind a little toddler. You just think he's so tiny. It could be anywhere, and especially if he's gone down a mine shaft or something like that, fell into something. Just heartbreaking, this. It's heartbreaking, this little boy, and his family just must be desperate.
The property, where is Gus? Every piece of information in relation to this very high-profile missing persons case will now be examined and re-examined by police. Major crime police returning to the property on Friday night, speaking to a family member about his last known movements, hope remaining he will somehow be found somewhere alive.
We'll head out there and do what we can. He's a little tacky. You don't want to leave him out there.
Hannah Ford, 7 News.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful area, of course. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. It's a beautiful area. You can see that it's a beautiful area, but bad things happen in beautiful places, unfortunately. Should we have a look at this? Have a look at some of the other videos that maybe we haven't seen. Bear in mind, these will be from earlier on. Let me just turn. Let's just go back. Yeah, we'll get an idea of the property. Oh, I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing.
When he vanished without a trace. 4-year-old boy
Hi
near
again.
Yunta is set to enter a 4th day. Little Gus Lamont was last seen playing in the front yard of his grandparents' property on Saturday night when he vanished without a trace.
A remote family sheep station, now the centre of a major police operation. 4-year-old Gus Lamont was last seen playing happily in the sand at the front of this homestead, now missing for several days.
This poor lad, just 4 years old and very close to the family, and so
I think
For several
in the
days.
beginning- Oh, sorry, I just want to rewind that because I want to show the house. In the beginning, this, like Jay Slater, like a lot of these cases, you think they're going to get found, don't you? Like maybe they've had an accident, or maybe they'll be in a bad way because of not, they'll be dehydrated. But you always hope, that they will be found, that for some reason they've just not been able to find their way back. And then when it transpires that they're not found within a week, really, then of course they have to accept that it's unlikely, even an adult, it's unlikely that they're still alive if they've not had any food or water in that time, and even if they've had an accident, they've not had any medical attention in that time. So yeah, when he very first went missing, I'm sure they were convinced they would find him.
Playing happily in the sand.
So yeah, look, this is the property, so you can see. I mean, I do think people relax in rural properties. I really do, and yet there's a lot of what's the word? There's a lot of hazards there, isn't there? Besides anything else of worrying about somebody being snatched or whatever. Look at all the stuff here. There's a lot of things that a little boy could want to get into, want to make a den, in the bushes, in the bin, or, kids do things, they get into things, don't they? They're in their little imaginary worlds playing games.
And at the front of this homestead, now missing for several days.
Yeah, so it's that's where he apparently was, playing out the back there. But yeah, there's a lot of hazards. Even though it might be safe from abductors, it's not really safe from accidents, is it?
this poor lad, just 4 years old and very close to the family, and so of course they're devastated. So we're working very closely with the family.
SES crews and police scouring the 60 square kilometre property near Yunta, frantically searching for signs of the little boy.
This is, probably one of the most terrifying circumstances that any parent or guardian can contemplate.
Last seen by his grandmother at 5 o'clock on Saturday night. Police say it's believed the quiet yet adventurous little boy just wandered off.
He normally just stays in the confines of this area, but as you know, who knows what goes through a 4-year-old's mind.
Exactly.
Today, more resources were brought in on the ground, police divers scouring the property's dams, while the police chopper used infrared technology to search from the air. Right now, emergency crews are focusing on a 3-kilometre radius from the homestead, but if nothing is found, they will expand the search further out.
I think every single parent across the state will have in their thoughts and their prayers the family of Gus.
Gus has curly blonde hair and was wearing a Minions t-shirt, a grey sun hat and boots. Police say there's nothing to suggest anything sinister has happened.
The only people that would travel on this road are station owners or people servicing those areas. So there's nothing to suggest that at all.
But there are grave fears for the safety of little Gus.
Yeah, look,
and time is running out.
Yeah, I always, when you see water like that, it's always a bit scary, isn't it? Because we know what happens if people fall in water. It can take ages. I wonder if they've drained this water or not. I presume they have, or they've dove it, or they've put sonar in it or something. One of those aqua eyes or something. It always worries me when I see water, because children are attracted to water as well, aren't they? I think in answer to your question, I think it was Pamela who said, why didn't they release a photo within the first couple of days? Well, they probably were thinking that he would be found, and that, you know, people don't like to have their children's photos all over social media, do they? So, or media. You know, I think the first couple of days, definitely, it would have been thought that he would have been found, that he'd wandered off somewhere and he was going to get found. And then they released the photo when the police have probably said to them, look, we need a photo. I would imagine. I don't know. You know, the thing is, you don't know how you know, you have to think about, like, if that, I'm trying to think, like when my son was little, if he would have gone missing, God forbid. I mean, he nearly went missing a couple of times, you know, disappeared once on the beach. Literally, I was talking to my friend, I turned around, he was gone. And that ensued about 10 minutes that I could not find him. The beach was packed. And I was panicking. Oh my God. He was only about 2 or 3, maybe at the time. Must have been 3. He was old, probably similar age to Gus, actually, because for him to be able to wander off on his own and that. And then just suddenly, oh God, it was like a miracle. I saw a lifeguard walking towards me, holding my son's hand. My son was crying. And I just went running up and like, oh, thank you, you know. But that's how quick it can happen. I mean, I was lucky. I mean, there was a lot of people on that beach. Anyone could have just whipped him off, took him at a car there and just gone off. I would never have seen him again. You know, it makes you go cold, the thought of it. And I literally just turned away from him. He was sat right next to me. You know, he wasn't even, you know, he was sat making sandcastles right at my side. And then I was talking, and then I turned back round and he's gone. It's like, that's how quick it can happen. And of course, you know, the Jamie Bulger case is another example. Literally take your eyes off a toddler for a minute. You just terrifying how quickly because they can move pretty quick, can't they, normally? And they're full of mischief as well. So I think sometimes they do it on purpose. Don't know if you've got children, any of you out there, and it ever happened to you, but they do it on purpose as well. They're mischievous, aren't they? They think it's funny to run away from you, you know, and that's why I think they should bring back those reins that we used to put on toddlers. You know, it might, you know, it's like walking a dog or something. You might feel uncomfortable doing it, but personally, I think if I ever am lucky enough to have grandchildren, especially because grandchildren, you feel even more responsible, wouldn't you? You know, you feel like you've got to look after them even more. Is like they would have reins on if I take them out, because, you know, to an open space where there's a lot of people, like the beach or whatever. Sometimes there's so many people, things can just happen in an instant. Look at Sarah Payne. She was another one. I don't know if you remember that case. That was a UK case. You know, literally, they'd had this sort of family, lovely day, and they were walking back home, and, you know, the kids got separated from the adults, but the older kids were looking after Sarah. And then in an instant, she was gone. Do you know, you can never underestimate these predators, how quick they can move.
Gus, and time is running out. Hannah Ford, 7 News.
And let's go live now to Hannah at the search scene. Hannah, it will continue well into the night.
That's right, Rosanna. While the sunlight may be fading, the search will go on.
So don't forget, this particular video we're watching now is from you know, not the current one. I was just looking back over it.
The police helicopter will continue circling this property overnight using the infrared equipment. Police horses and sniffer dogs are on the scene as well, likely to be deployed again tomorrow.
that water.
Divers too. While temperatures here often drop to freezing overnight, luckily it's mild at the moment, hovering at around 6 to 8 degrees. As every minute passes, concern for Gus grows, but police say they're remaining hopeful of a positive outcome.
Yeah, and it makes me think of Cielo as well. Remember Cielo, the little boy who wasn't he walking along the towpath with his dad, and then sort of he ran off or whatever, fell into the canal. His dad jumped in after him, and his dad survived. But Cielo was not found for months, was he? You know, despite searches. And he wasn't actually found in the canal because there had been rain and stuff. Anyway, just all I'm trying to say, the point I'm trying to make is this little boy could be anywhere. It's so very sad. So very, very sad. I don't think, they said they've checked the water. They say they've checked the water, but the thing is, this is what I'm trying to say, they have to keep checking these things, don't they? Because how many times do we hear of water being checked and nothing's found, and then a couple of weeks later found? I mean, look at Nicola Bulley, look at Case, look at the Scottish, the girls in Scotland, the twin girls, how long it took to find their bodies. Takes time to find bodies, and just because they've searched doesn't mean to say that he isn't there, but they may find him on another search. I think they'll keep on searching for him until they do find him one way or another. Just hope they do find him soon. I don't think that he's been kidnapped, Pamela. I can't see how he could be kidnapped. Do you see? I mean, it's possible, of course. But like we were saying earlier, surely they'd need a vehicle. Someone would need a vehicle to kidnap him. And that would be heard, wouldn't it, by the grandma and granddad? Because that's his grandma and granddad's place, isn't it? Wouldn't they hear a vehicle? Anyway, I'm sure that's been looked into as well. The police will be exploring every avenue, including, the family and that, because the family are always the first suspects. So, but the police have stated clearly that as far as they're concerned, there's no evidence to suggest anything except that he wandered off. So we'll see. Or trendy reins now that you can attach to your backpack. Yeah, it's a good idea, isn't it, Pamela? Good idea, because just so quick that they can move. And, you never know who's watching when, I think for something like a child abduction to happen, it's a combination of things that lead to it. So it's a moment's inattention by the parents, which, we all do, the best will in the world. You try and keep your eyes on your child, but sometimes you have to, I don't know, you look away or you speak to someone or you look up, like Jamie Bulger's mum was buying some food, wasn't she? In just 1 minute where she let go of his hand. So it has to be some inattention by the parents, even just the briefest inattention. And combined with the fact that the bad luck that there happens to be a predator hanging around, and predators often are opportunists, like Jamie Bulger's killers, those two boys, they were looking for a toddler to kidnap. They tried a couple of other toddlers, and unfortunately they were successful with Jamie. But yeah, so there's a predator, so it's like a perfect storm all coming together, isn't it? A moment's inattention by the parents, a predator waiting for their opportunity, and then having the wherewithal to actually take them away. With James's case, it's so very sad, James Bulger, because people did see these boys with James and saw that he was distressed and he was crying, and those boys said, oh, it was their little brother, and you know, and people don't like to interfere, you know, but I think it could have been prevented if only somebody would have been more. But I don't know what I would do in that case. So you imagine you're wandering down the road, you're walking down the road, not necessarily wandering down the road, and you see two young lads with a little boy, and the little boy's crying. Now, because of knowing about the Jamie Bulger case, I would definitely intervene. But, bearing in mind these people, they didn't know about the Jamie Bulger case. So, and these boys are saying, oh, yeah, it's our little brother and he's upset because of blah, blah, blah. What can you do? Would you can't take the little boy off them, or suppose you could ring the police. But anyway. The boys are always the worst, Pamela, aren't they? I mean, it's just like, what is it with boys? Oh my God. It's like, it's funny because, yeah, you have to take them everywhere with you, obviously, when they're little. And, it makes everything difficult, doesn't it? The shopping and that. I remember being in a department store. My son decided to try and run the wrong way up the escalator, and he was boys are always a bit more hyper, aren't they, than girls? So that's how it strikes me. But and then when they get old enough where they can be useful, they don't want to come anymore. So it's like, yeah, they get older and you think, oh, you can help me with the shopping, or oh no, I don't want to come, I'm just going to stay here and play on my PlayStation. So Anyway, I've got to go. I've got some classes, but I will be back later. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for caring about Gus. So one thing we can do, and I'm praying for him all the time, literally. He's not far from my mind at the moment, because you just think, this poor little one. I can't see it having a happy ending, and I'm just being honest in that, but I just hope that one way or another he is found, in this poor family. I just can't even imagine what it's like for them. So we'll have a virtual candle for him. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and may your God, as always, go with you. Bye. Oh, I normally like to say goodbye where you can see me, actually. So, yeah. Till I see you again, may your God go with you. Thank you.